been brought to a document doing rounds on social media, purported to be from the Kenya Corporate Board, and ostensibly a statement issued this morning by the chairman and the executive director of the Kenya Corporate Board, which makes some wide-ranging allegations about the performance of CMOs. I'm told the purpose of that press conference was to announce the performance of CMOs in 2023. And I have seen the statement has been issued to the media, and it's doing rounds, even though we were not conducted to give our side of the story. We are glad that you are here and be able to, therefore, respond to some of the issues. Considering that we have just received this statement, and it has a lot of issues, we will not be able to issue the comprehensive statement now, but we will prepare a comprehensive statement based on figures and facts and log sheets and so on, which we will share with the media later on. But suffice it to say that on the Friday 19th, 2024, as you can see from this advert that was run on the Daily Nation, it is a notice of royalty distribution, which we ran in a national paper. This was on 19th of January, and it was announcing as follows that the Board of Directors of Music Corporate Society of Kenya would like to notify its members as follows: that pursuant to the provisions of Article 39 and 40 of the Music Corporate Society of Kenya Memoranda and Articles of Association, read with the provisions of Article 15 of Mcsk distribution rules, Mcsk shall distribute royalties to performance in public places, PPP, international broadcasting class, which will commence on 25th January and run until 29th of March 2024. Number two, that the royalty amount available for both PPP, international and broadcasting distribution, is Kenya shillings 20 million. It is in the notice that we gave, in line with the law. And number three, that all members that Mcsk shall be using log sheets and data on music usage obtained from compliant broadcasters and private monitoring services. This was weeks before we started the distribution. It is titled Notice of Royalty Distribution. We declared how much was available for distribution. We declared the procedure that will be used. Let me read number 4, that all members whose musical works, this is a notice, we are informing them in advance, that all members whose musical works were performed, broadcasted and communicated to the public between January and December 2023 will be conducted, and all royalties shall be transferred into each member's preferred accounts. That further clarification on the distribution and any issues regarding the log sheet and data on music usage may be addressed to the Chief Executive Officer, and we have given our details. This was way before. In fact, if you remember, it caused a lot of buzz online when people were calculating and saying 16,000 members divided by 20 million. You remember that buzz on social media? This was way before distribution. And then, for the first time in Mck's history, and in CMO's history, I dare say, we decided to do it physically and show people this is how many times your music was played, on which radio station, how much you are paid per airplay, multiplying by the times. This is what you get as gross pay, minus 5% with the holding tax. You get the net pay. This is it. This is your check. And we spent the whole day on 25th of January at Safari Park. We had invited the First Lady of this country. We had invited members of Parliament. We had invited members of the Senate. We had invited international guests. We had all manner of people. And we had the top musicians in the country attending that event. It was covered. It was done publicly, as transparently as we could. The purpose for this notice was to declare how much we have for distribution. And the questions that Kecobo is raising today should have been raised, an objection. In fact, someone should have gone to court to object. Why are you distributing this? And you have so much. knowing that we distributed and we are above board, and we are not going to be swayed by shenanigans and noisemakers and political rejects who have been rejected even by the public and should not be holding a public office. Knowing that we are above board, they started a narrative to look like we have distributed less. Like if you see what they are circulating, which is actually meant to incite our members, and we have instructed our lawyers to take legal action against Kutunyi, Sigei, and the entire Kecobo board. You cannot malign a public and a private company. We are going to deal with them so ruthlessly that when we are done, they will be looking for their way to town. Yeah. There is a law in this country. And let them not think because they come from certain region that they are going to scare anybody. No, 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 no. We are citizens of this country with equal rights. We went public way before announcing the distribution, gave members our numbers, and started a conversation even on social media. I went even to radio stations and TV stations and said, this is what we will distribute. This is what we have set aside. Let me even take you way back so that you understand where this is coming from. When Kutunyi was appointed, about a month or so, or a few weeks after his appointment, he took us to the CS following, CS Aisha Jumwa, following the executive order that transferred the arts docket to Aisha Jumwa. Okay? Yeah. And he took us Kenya camp, Prisk, himself, and Sigei to see the minister. And he said the agenda was only one, for you guys to say how much you have set aside for distribution. So they asked Prisk, how much? Prisk told Waziri, we have nothing to distribute. They have their own reasons. We don't run Prisk, so we will not answer for them. Camp, how much have you set aside for distribution? They said nothing. This is a meeting between Kenya Copyright Board chairman, executive director, the minister, and senior ministry officials. Okay? We took photos. It was a public, and they said they have nothing to distribute. I said the board of Mcsk has set aside 20 million. And it is available for distribution to members. Well, how come nobody contradicted that and said you're supposed to distribute more? Because they know we all have access to how much we are collecting. We have a system that shows, and Kecobo has access, how much we collect today, how much goes to Prisk, how much goes to Mcsk, how much goes to CAMP. We collect it jointly from a platform called KPM, which was installed or forced on our throats by the Kenya Copyright Board, so that they can run it and be able to monitor how much money we are raising. So I think it was in 2019. So that system is theirs. It's the one we are using. And we went and the camp and Prisk said they have nothing to distribute. We said we have 20 million to distribute. We stuck to our process. And on 25th of January, we were at Safari Park in a very transparent manner. Everybody got their check. We could not, of course, assemble the 16,000 members. So the rest were getting the money in line with this distribution notice, which says 25th of January to 29th of March. We are barely a month since we started. So nothing is lost, really. And we have been telling our members, hold your horses. Even today, we are making arrangements. Money is going to M-Pesa, Zawatu. But 16,000 members are many. But what we have seen here is a narrative that Kecobo is building that creates the impression that members were paid less. Because it says, it gives even the names of our members, which is very objectionable, because this is not salary. We don't draw money from the exchequer. This is a private body. We are not paid by exchequer. We don't draw any coin from the coffers, public coffers. The government does not pay our musicians to produce their music. The government does not buy music. Who are these fellows who are so ignorant? Where do they come from? What level of malice can drive somebody to do this? Because what they're doing is like coming to Nation or to Royal Media Services and saying you were underpaid because there was so much money. A private company has its own rules and regulations. As a public body, you don't come in. You cannot do that. In any case, when I look at the dailies today, the headlines about misappropriation in government bodies. What have they done about it? But let's come to this. This is what we take objection with. And we want to announce to Kutunyi and the Kecobo and the Sigei that they will face the music. You just don't do this. This is wrong. Some of us, we uphold higher values than the things you are hearing from there. And we have been in public life for long. They are saying, this artist who is our member, who got this money and got it publicly and never complained, we don't have a complaint from this member, should have gotten 4,540,000 instead of 757, the highest earner. And they are saying payment if 70% rule was observed. What is that? Show us the Copyright Act and show me the place where it says 70% rule. Show me that one. We met our members, we gave them this money. Where is Kecobo getting this column? Where they are saying if 70%, 70% of what? Which law governing CMOs, or even Kecobo, or even the Constitution of Kenya that says 70%? Where? This is a public body, a public official maligning a private company deliberately so that they can promote the cartels that they support at NHIF. Yeah, in that building, that's where corruption takes place. I can tell you, take this to the bank. Let now the chips fall where they may. And I'll look at the camera. That day when we were there in that meeting, they were asking for money, cash. So I asked them from where? When we announced we have 20 million, we stayed in the boardroom for 2 hours. At Historia, ni pesa ngapi itapatikana? Shameless people holding public office, stinging to the core. And now they turn the guns on us. We say there's no money. We have announced 20 million. Hakuna pesa tunaweza pata. Yeah. Na hatukuwapatia. I've never seen Kutunyi ever since. Yeah. We stayed in the boardroom of the minister for 2 hours negotiating how much money they are going to get. And I said, from where? This is musicians' money. Munasema itoka wapi? Then after distributing, after announcing this, and after refusing to succumb to their shenanigans, do you know what they did? They decided to sabotage. They were trying to sabotage the distribution. They said, don't distribute. We asked why. We have set aside the money in line with our rules. They said, don't distribute. We said, but we have announced, and we have we have memorandum and the articles of association that give the board the powers to announce, and once you declare this money for distribution, we cannot stop. So either you come, we distribute together, and you make your statements there, and we have invited you, or we'll go ahead and distribute, and we did it transparently, openly, in a very fair manner. None of these members raised an issue. Do you know now what they're telling them? They're telling them now, go and complain to Mcsk, you are supposed to be paid this, the 4 million. Can you imagine if somebody thinks 3 million was stolen from them? And this is a public official maligning us. We paid this person. She's our member. She never complained. She has all the documents. The office is open here. They are always here singing. Okay? Kecobo is raising if 70% rule was followed. And the question I'm asking is 70% rule of where? Which act? Which constitution? And if you can answer that, then short of that, we are dealing with the Kutunyi relentlessly, ruthlessly, and cacaboniously, without fear or favor. That political reject, those people, the only claim they have to that office is because they are tribalists of some region. What qualification do they have? Why would they do this to Kenyans? So I want to tell them, shame on you. This money, if you show me the rule that says 70% or the law, then let members come for their pay. We declared how much is available. We pay according to how much is available, and the log sheets from broadcasters. We don't create the log sheets. They are from the users of music. And they are the ones who have paid. They are the ones who have complied, by the way, because we have about 2.4 billion out there that has not been collected. And in their own admission, I'm sure if you were in that press conference, they admit that compliance was about 10%. In their own admission, it's in their statement. Yeah. So why are you inciting members to think that even the money that is out there should have been distributed to who? And by who? All right? Even in government, there is capping on expenditure. And it says there are costs that the government must run. In fact, the highest budget in government is recurrent. It's not development. Most of the money goes to paying salaries in government. Why are they creating some other world, phantom world, where people get money from a conveyor belt and there are no expenses? Why are they doing this? Because there are cartels who run schiza tunes. There are cartels called PSRPs that are run from NHIF building 50th floor. They are supported from there. There are 10 of them, some of them belonging to very senior people, and they wouldn't want to touch on those. They are diverting attention. I tell them this, there is God in heaven. One thing I like about President Ruto, he told us that you don't have to fear even the deep state and the system, let alone political rejects like Kutunyi. So they are not about to scare nobody. We are not about to change and bribe Kutunyi, and I have a lot to say about him. Sir, there's a lot I can say about you. Shame on you. There's a lot, and you know it. There's a lot I can show about you. A lot. Kutunyi, you know it. And we can say these things. So let them not dare us. We will fight corruption, even if I'll be the last man standing. I'll put my life on the line. Because if we are treated to these shenanigans where people twist the truth and make it look like a lie, then we have no country. Where there's a reason they called me the moral cop, and the reason is this, that somebody must stand for the truth. So, this column is meant to malign CMOs. We never collected this amount of money. We don't have it. The amount of money that we had is here. If compliance was improved, and I'm happy they have concluded by saying they will support us with reinforcement, we would actually be paying a lot of money, probably more than what they're saying here. But when you put this money, you're inciting members to think there is more money somewhere that was stolen. So to answer this is malicious, this is witch hunt, this is meant to twist a narrative to make it look like there's money that has been stolen. Some of us have been in public life. We have handled money. We are not about to steal money that belongs to musicians. We'll do the right thing. We'll face the flag. We'll take on them. We are going to expose every cartel. Let them know. They will have nowhere to hide. They can run, but they will not hide. Kutunyi, after we refused to buy into his shenanigans of bribery and giving him Christmas gift and so on, now this is what they are doing? I can't believe it. I honestly, when Kutunyi was appointed, praised him, and I thought, finally. Now when I see this, the only crime is that meeting that we are in that boardroom where we say there is no money to give to anybody. That's a crime that we are paying for. I am ready even to shed my blood, if that's what it will take, to say no to your corruption.